Hi there, everyone. Welcome to the Linfield College Women's Soccer Weekly Coaches Report. I'm Joe Stuart. Coach Steve Simmons here alongside with me. Thanks for joining us on the Linfield Sports Network. Coach, thanks for taking the time, as always.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me.
So last week we talked about the difficult test that you guys had to go through this last weekend against Northwest University. Obviously, a talented team, ended in not the result, of course, that we were all hoping for, ended in a 3-0 loss. But you said that matches like this are things where you really learn about your team and really learn about what areas you need to improve on. Yeah. Obviously, this was a match where just nothing really seemed to go your way for a long time. Outshot 29-4. That's obviously the most glaring thing looking at the box score. But what do you see out there, and what sort of adjustments do you think need to be made here as we head into the conference schedule?
Yeah, when I look at the box score, and then we watch the video, they're incongruent, and so when we look at the statistics of the shots, the 29-4, when you watch the game, the majority of shots that were taken against us were insignificant. So when you're playing on the road, we want to minimize high percentage shots against us. And so whether we want to say those stats were inflated by the home team, people can draw that conclusion. When I watched the video of the game, one thing was certain is that their attacking players are quick, they're nimble, they ask a lot of questions in transition. Now, having said that, I thought our first half was really good, and we didn't take our chances. Mm-hmm. And so when you look at the game of soccer, and especially the way we're trying to play, when you look at statistics, obviously the scoreline is the biggest statistic. When you look at statistics as far as shot counts or corner kicks, a lot of that will suggest different things. For us, our areas of improvement are, can we make the plays that we're setting up to make? So I think we've improved a lot on trying to dominate the midfield and get the ball into the attacking third. We're just not clinical enough right now. That's going to come. So we're asking questions. We're just not as lethal as we want to be. Now, having said that, when we give balls away in key spots, we leave ourselves a little bit open. And that's where you get a team like Northwest, who's a top 20 NAIA team. With those forwards, they're going to challenge us. And so I thought we did a good job in the first half of minimizing that. In the second half is where I thought the breakdown started to occur. And I think, their goal, the goal that they scored, the first goal, was a heck of a free kick. But those are areas that we could have certainly dealt with beforehand, of not giving the ball away in certain areas. And so we feel that we have answers to what we need to do going forward. That game was a great game for us. Obviously, we don't want to lose any game, right? But to prepare us for the conference, absolutely critical.
Definitely, and all three of those goals coming in the last 25 minutes of the match. That's a lot of, a big thing that you've been talking about this season, preaching consistency. And, as we've talked about, not, coming out and beating the teams you're supposed to beat, but looking at that same strength as a squad going into matches like this where it's a much tougher opponent.
Right. Well, and that's just right, Joe. We want to be in a scenario, especially in the preseason right now, that we're getting asked a lot of questions so that we can sort those things out as we get into the second season, which is what we call the conference season. And so we feel that we have a grip on what we need to do. Certainly, in any competitive sport, when you win, you feel good. When you lose, you don't feel good, right? And so I tell the players, take the highs out of the highs and lows out of the lows. And, we want to stay in that middle zone. That's that performance zone. That's what gets you through a campaign. We don't want to be held hostage by a result, good or bad.
Definitely. But so you believe that a lot of it at this point is mostly execution. So maybe we won't really be seeing a whole lot of changes tactically or personnel-wise here in the next couple of matches?
Well, one of the things that I envisioned when I took the job, when I observed last fall, is that it's important for us to have a large rotation because of the way the conference schedule is back-to-back Saturday, Sundays. asking a lot of the players physically. So for us, yeah, there could be some changes here and there, but we cannot rely on a small rotation. A small rotation is not going to get us where we want to go. So it's important that the players that are going to be coming into the match have the confidence of what their role is, and they're clear on that. I know we played a lot of players on Saturday, which is exactly what I want. I want those girls because, hey, we played a field player in goal.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so you just don't know the cards you're going to be dealt. And so we're not going to complain about, well, we don't have this person, we don't have that person. We got to get on with it. So it's my job to make sure that the players are versatile and they know their roles going into any match.
Totally. So that obviously was another part of it. The defense compounded with the fact that all three of your actual keepers were on the injured list in that match. Kat Thomas, the senior midfielder, had her first start in goal in college and played terrific. Had 10 saves of the 13 shots on goal. But of course, facing 29 shots, it's going to add up after a while.
Sure.
What can you give us an update health-wise with Maddie Reimer and the rest of the keeping staff?
Yeah, well, we'll kind of see how that goes. I know they're going to be being evaluated this afternoon, so I should know more later on. But again, a lot of the shots that were taken against us were off target and insignificant. The ones that Kat had to deal with, I thought she handled them well. And what is nice is that the girls are confident in her. And so that's huge. If you look at any sport, it's like baseball having a catcher the field players are confident in, or a quarterback they're confident. It's the same thing with soccer, having somebody in the back that they're confident in. And so Kat, she stepped up. She volunteered. She wanted to say, this, I can help the team doing this. And so just that mere attitude of hers is a postcard of what we want at Linfield Soccer.
So in a match like this, and you only managed to get 4 shots off, can you talk about the difficulty of starting offensive possessions consistently when you end up on your heels defensively in a match like this?
Well, here's where the statistics are going to be funky.
Right.
So I count more than 4 shots.
Okay.
So the home team's interpretation of shots on goal or shots are going to be the home team's interpretation. If you look at, we haven't got the breakdown yet from our video platform, but if you look at the percentage of who had the ball the most, they certainly had a good chunk in some of that time. But I'm going to say it's either going to be 50-50 or maybe slightly in our favor. So you have to be careful with that. I've been around the block to know that the home team will doctor it up. And so I'm looking at, okay, what are you doing with it, whatever it is. For us, what led to those attempts on goal were giveaways in critical areas of the field, and then our ability to transition defend better. Those are 2 things. Now, we take our chances because it says 4 shots. I'm going to struggle to tell you it's 4 shots.
Sure.
But we need to execute. We need to be more lethal in those areas, more ruthless, and so those are things that we're going to work on for sure. And the other, I told the girls this after the game. They're seeing it. They just got to execute, which that's the next step. Sometimes they can't see it. With soccer, if you think of basketball and you have 11 players and it's 120 yards by 80, there's a lot of moving parts. Mm-hmm. And you can imagine running a flex offense in basketball. Well, try to do that with 11 players in soccer. If you don't know where things are, you ain't going to see it. So our girls are starting to see it. They just got to now execute it. So we're making strides. We want to win a game. Don't get me wrong. And we're on the verge of doing it. But I'm trying to build this to be competitive for the long haul.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So as we look ahead towards Wednesday, towards the conference season, what are some of the goals that you and your staff and this team as a collective, the players have put together for what are some of the goals for this 2019 campaign for the rest of the year? Yeah,
we looked at the non-conference to be the preparation platform for the conference. The conference is a big deal right now. What we want to do ultimately is we need to win the conference. We need to get to the tournament. We need to get to the Final Four so that our conference has legitimacy, that we can get more than one team into the tournament. And so that's got to happen. But until then, the conference winners are going to be the only one that goes. So it's a double round robin, which means that, we literally, and I'm not saying this as a coach phrase, we literally have to take it one game at a time. And I mean literally. When you look back on how close it's been to the conference the last 3 years, a matter of 3 to 4 points separate 4 to 5 teams from first place. So having that rotation, having freshness, certainly, taking care of games at home, I think is a big deal. Those things and being versatile. There are going to be certain teams that we match up differently against, that we might play a certain formation on one day and a little bit different on another day because we feel the matchup's going to be different. So we're always going to try to maximize what we have and exploit what our opponent has. And having said that, that means we have to have a large group to be available to hit the ground running. And so I think this, preseason, non-conference season has given us a chance because we've played some good teams. Mm-hmm. And I want to know, what do we need to work on? And so, this last game against Northwest, what's funny, we're disappointed. We go, yeah, we got to work on this, and this. But I don't think anybody hangs their head going, well, we don't have any answers. We have tons of answers. We just got to do them.
Sure.
Yeah.
So as we go into this conference schedule result, what are you the most confident about with this team? Like you said, there's lots of questions, but some answers to be seen, and a lot of it may just come down to execution. But there are some things on this squad that have looked really, really strong here in the early going as well.
I'll tell you what I'm most confident, their resilience. This group just does not hang their head. They're going to fight all the way too. And, we talk about, we never lose a game. We just run out of time, right? And that's what this group is about. They never hang their head. And so that DNA that's in there is going to serve us well when we get into the thick of it, because the fur is going to start to fly in the conference. Mm-hmm. And so we'll do what we need to do. The other teams will do what they need to do, and it's going to be tight. And a lot of times it will be that. It'll be that, okay, do you have the wherewithal to stay in it even if you're down? Can you chase a game back up, tie, et cetera, et cetera? And can we put teams away early? And so those are going to be the things that we're going to be looking for. I'm the most excited about our resiliency, I'll be honest with you, because you can't coach that.
Well, that's great, because that was actually the next thing I was going to ask about is how do you keep their confidence up? How do you make sure that they know what they need to do after two pretty tough losses that you guys just endured? But you think a lot of it just comes down to the senior leadership here?
Yeah, there's a lot to say about the seniors. There's a lot to say about, the coaching staff has done a good job. When we look at the game now, the way we look at the game, we can break it down and say, listen, girls, do you see where we can make the adjustments and improve? And they all see it. They just go, we just got to do it. So it's not like this mystery. It's not gray area. It's not rocket science. It's something that they feel they're in control of. And like any of us, if we feel that we can make a difference, right, we can go out and be confident in doing it. And so we'll still have to do the things that any one of the Linfield Wildcats athletics team need to do. They got to be tough and gritty, and those are just hallmarks of what we do here. But our girls believe that the things that they can fix are super fixable. So I need to continue to put them in situations to do that, because again, their heads aren't going to drop. Mine isn't going to drop. I've seen it all, and I'm going to tell you right now. If people are looking at stats, love it. Look at the stats, look at the inflated shots or whatever you want to call it, and we'll take care of business.
That's pretty much going to do it for us here. The Cats open up Northwest Conference play at home against Pacific on Wednesday at 7 o'clock. We'll, of course, have that for you on the Linfield Sports Network. Then they travel to Salem this Saturday to take on Willamette before 4 straight here in McMinnville. Coach, again, thanks for stopping by, and great luck on Wednesday.
Hey, thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.